guys, it's Fee, and I am here for a TTC update. I had an appointment today, August 11th, with the reproductive immunologist and recurrent loss specialist and thrombophilia specialist and all that happy stuff. So, as you may or may not know, we were waiting on some results for some tests that they took some blood and some mouth swabs for a number of weeks ago, and we were also doing a uterine blood flow study today, and the results of everything are in. And the uterine blood flow study was normal, so that's good. But everything else, I've come to the conclusion I should play the lottery, because I am positive for MTHFR on both genes. That means I'm homozygous on both counts. I got the gene from both my mother and my father. So that's the lottery, and the test results for that are right here. You can see what it says. And I am also natural killer cell positive. Well, I should actually be more specific on that one. Everybody has natural killer cells. Apparently the normal is 10 or under is what they're looking for. And mine are 26.2, which is kind of the equivalent of being off the charts. I will show you that. 26.2. Now, I wasn't aware of this until today, actually. There are actually two different IVs available that can be administered both before and after our next embryo transfer, after, given that it's a positive pregnancy. And one of them is the intralipid that a lot of people on here are very familiar with. There are other people on here that have it. And the other one is called an IVIG. And they tested my blood for what both of those would do for me. Again, they want to get 26.2 at 10 or under. And the regular intralipid IV, that is the more familiar thing that you hear about, would only get me down to 13.8, hypothetically speaking, according to their tests. The IVIG would get me down to 7.2. Now, here's the problem. Neither one of those are covered by insurance, even if you have the greatest insurance plan known to man, because the insurance companies do not recognize those as treatments. They don't look at them as experimental, but they also don't look at them as treatments that they're willing to pay for, unless you already have something like lupus, I believe, is one of the other things that intralipids can be used for. So, the big difference, other than what those two IVs can do for you, is the IVIG, well, they didn't give me the exact number, is a couple of $1,000 per infusion. And most people need numerous. The intralipid, now I have that paperwork here, for my doctor is $250, and if it takes them additional time to get it in you, because sometimes they have to do it slower, a lot of times in the first infusion they have to do it slower, it is an additional $100 for each half an hour. Now that is for a regular intralipid infusion. They said the only way that I could do the intralipid infusion is if I do a double intralipid infusion. So all of those numbers are doubles. It's essentially about $850 every time I would have to have an infusion. So the bottom line is my natural killer cells are so high that I would have to have a double intralipid infusion. And the MTHFR gene is mutated on both strands from both my mother and my father. So, fee hit the lottery. Fee hit the lottery. At this point, we are waiting for cycle day 1, in which case I will be going to my regular RE, and essentially it's going to be his job to try and get me pregnant again with the 3 frozen embryos that we have left, and it's going to be my other doctor, I now have 2, his job to keep me pregnant. And they do work together because, as I said before, one of the infusions will have to be just before the transfer, and then they will test again, I believe it's a week afterwards, to see where the natural killer cells are at and if they have to do another one, or essentially they're going to be keeping track of how quickly my levels rise and drop so they know how often I would need this. The other things that are crossing my mind at this point that I don't really have any answers for is the intralipid infusion is essentially egg whites and soy and a couple other things that I am forgetting at the moment. But the reason why the egg whites and soy come to my mind is because technically I am allergic to both of those. Now, it's not the kind of allergy that makes me stop breathing. I have a few allergies that do that. But the majority of my allergies, which is a very long list, all cause sinus issues. Sinus issues that I can deal with, but doctors tend to be paranoid, so I don't know what they're going to want to do about that. I don't know if I'm going to end up on prednisone on top of all of this, or if they're going to try and force me to do the IVIG, which is the more expensive infusion that honestly I'm not quite sure I would be able to figure out how to do. Money-wise, I'll cross that bridge when we get that far. So that's about it. That's enough, right? For those of you who are not familiar, MTHFR causes issues with clotting and folic acid. So I will be on extra folic acid, or folate, I should say, and I will also be back on the baby aspirin. They have yet to determine whether or not I will be on another blood thinner, because that's what the baby aspirin does. I may also end up on Lovenox. They haven't decided that yet. We'll see. Time will tell. And that's about it for now. I did just get back from this doctor appointment, so it's a little fresh. I've got a lot of things running through my brain right now. Hopefully I got everything out that was kind of in my brain. I'm trying to kind of push everything else to the side because, of course, now I'm thinking, hey, if they would have tested for all this stuff before, maybe we could have gotten the last pregnancy to stick, or to stay, should I say, because it did technically stick, but I ended up with no fetal heartbeat. So, we'll see. We shall see. So at this point, I probably won't have a whole lot more to update on this until I get to the next cycle, day 1, which should be in maybe 2 weeks-ish, somewhere in there. At that point, I don't know if they're going to stick me on birth control or if we're going to go straight into a frozen embryo transfer cycle where I would be put on the estrogen injections to get my lining to start to build up, and then we would go from there. I'm not quite sure how fast or slow this one is going to go, but what I do know is intralipids are going to be involved, and plenty of them, and I also know that folic acid and baby aspirin will be upped, and I may end up on more than that for the MTHFR. We shall see. So that's it. I will talk to you guys as soon as I know more, or if I need to do another vlog to get the emotions out. But the bottom line is, I hit the lottery. Thea hit the lottery, and now we have to deal with it. To deal with it and treat it and move on, and as long as all these doctors know what they're doing, hopefully it won't be a problem, and one of those 3 embryos we have left will be our take-home baby. We shall see. Here's hoping. Talk to you guys later. Bye.